It's always convenient that the people I'd like to stay away from the most are usually the loudest. So I hear them coming. So I can cross the street or just kind of stop, pretend I'm fucking with my phone, let them pass. Same thing with music. You know, whenever I hear someone carrying on a speaker, like, just, you know, those fucking subwoofer giant things people carry these days, and they just, I hear that come, and it's like, oh, thanks. Now I know to fucking get out of the area and not to look back. So I was just doing that now. I just, it came to a point, like, do I take this street or do I just let it pass? So I just got over by the building there and pretended I was doing something on my phone, and I let it pass. It's convenient that way. But yeah, yesterday I was talking about the brain and the way it has access to files and stuff, and that's why people are sometimes tricked into thinking that your brain does more than it does, and it's more has a hand more in you than it does. It does not. It does have access like an app when you download an app, and it gives you that big terms of service. It's like, we can make phone calls, and we can go into your personal pictures. And if you don't say yes to this, then you don't get the app. So it's crazy, but most of us do it. I still do it, but whatever. I don't have a lot of. I don't keep anything incriminating on my phone. Not incriminating to me, but incriminating to others. I used to have quite a large collection of stuff like that on my PC. And when I switched to phone exclusively, I was still saving that kind of stuff. And then it just kind of, I thought twice about it. I still have a small collection of things that I like to keep are red pills, but it's not too egregious. They're all like stock memes, stock in the sense that there's nothing super secret. I don't have screenshots from Frazzle or anything anymore. So yeah, your brain can fool you into thinking that it's on your side. It's not on your side. Your brain is like the ombudsman. I've used the example before where if you're in the street and a car comes careening at you, your gut instinct is get the fuck out of the way. Your gut intelligence, which is supposedly the place where the largest part of you settles, the largest part of you as far as an energy being settles in the gut for some reason. But anyway, where your gut will tell you get out of the road, your brain will be like, no, he sees me. And then, yeah, I've had this exact thing. I've been hit by cars 3 times here, walking, always when I had the right of way. And in a few of the cases, like I'm staring at the driver, like, you see me, right? And they'll be staring at me, and they're like, you see me, right? But there's a thing here, like, happens on the sidewalks too. Like, you'll be coming up the sidewalk, and you'll have a group of people, or just even sometimes just a couple people. And like, you get the street here, you got a building here, and they'll just keep coming. If I'm with my girl, we go single file. Or if I'm with a friend, we always go single file, like the sand people. Because it's like, right? What else are you going to do? But people have so little self-awareness or understanding of their space that they're in. They just keep walking, and like I'll end up like face to face with someone. Like, all right, what are we going to do now? I'm not jumping in the street for you, and I can't walk through walls. So here we are. And then they'll be like, sometimes they have to put out like, yeah, you don't have to be a physics master to understand that you can't occupy the same space as I am in this frequency anyway. If you were vibrating on a different frequency, yeah, we might be able to share the same space, but that's not the case. So one of us has to fuck off, and it's not going to be me because I'm not jumping in the fucking street for you. But yeah, I mean, I've locked eyes with drivers, and they still keep coming. I'm like, you see me, right? They still keep coming. They still keep coming. So I wasn't, only one time was I almost knocked down. That's because I got bumped. I got bumped in all cases because my brain was telling me, no, this guy sees me. And there was a visual confirmation because I see them and they're looking at me. So I'm like, well, he's not going to keep rolling, right? And they keep rolling. I don't know. It's bizarre. It's the same thing as the sidewalk. It's like, I don't know if they just don't see you, like even though they're looking at you, because we know that's the thing. It happens, with people, with us, with me. You don't see things until a certain point, or you'll be looking at them and, not seeing them. But yeah, your brain will fuck you around because you're not your brain. I was just talking to someone about this on my Instagram and trying to explain it as well as I can. That you are the electromagnetic energy that's in your body. You are what animates the avatar or the suit or whatever the fuck you want to call this thing you're in. That energy that makes that happen, that is you. Now your brain helps to facilitate the movement of the body. It'll help to, like if you hit your hand on something and it has to hurt you, your brain helps facilitate the travel of that energy to your brain to tell them you just hit your hand, and then the energy will travel back down to your hand for the nerve endings so that you experience the pain. It works like that. It's not in real time. It happens in almost in measure. It's so fast, but it's still not real time, which should be a clue to a lot of other things that say for another day. But yeah, so your brain, if your likes, your dislikes, your personality, your perspective, that's all you. It's got nothing to do with your fucking brain. And people say, well, your consciousness is connected to you. Your consciousness has nothing to do with your fucking brain. Even mainstream science boys begrudgingly have had to admit, in recent years that your brain does not generate the consciousness. They are independent. Although, like an app, your brain has access to areas that would normally be thought of as your consciousness. File systems, memories, things like that. So it can bring things up. It can pull things up independent of you and throw them in there. And it confuses you. Like, a lot of times you hear the, well, how do I really put this one? It's so hard sometimes when you're in this kind of metaphysical conceptual mud and you're trying to make sense of it. Sometimes you'll think like, well, where did that thought come from? There are many ideas and thoughts you may have that aren't coming from you. They're generated from somewhere else. They're not whole cloth generated from somewhere else unless you're somehow being, you're the victim of some kind of gang stalking, electromagnetic frequency to the brain type thing. Your brain will dredge up these things that you may have forgotten and put them in your mind. So while it's, a lot of people think, well, wait, we don't know where thoughts come from. It's a thought that you had at some point. It could have been just tangentially related to something else. It doesn't have to be very clear, but they use that to confuse or to make you behave in a certain way. Your brain is not your friend. Your brain's not your friend. It's an ombudsman. You think you're doing something. It's like, well, no. And there's a few different ombudsmen you have talked about that before. How you got a ride along going, a spiritual sort of entity ride along. It's been depicted as the angel, devil shoulder thing. That's kind of what it is. Whereas you'll always have a chorus of, nah, you can't do that or don't do that. And then I believe it's you who's the angel kind of, because it would be, because if you're a divine being, you have a divinity, then that's what it would be, right? So, so while those two fight, that's you fighting your brain. I think that kind of I made that as clear as I possibly can within the scope of my understanding and ability in vocabulary. Very hot out here tonight because there's no wind. Heat in Hawaii usually isn't a big idea. It's usually not a big deal because we get trade winds that blow through here that make it so that it's comfortable. But tonight there's no wind, which also means sound travels differently. Which even though there's a lot of people around, it creates kind of a quiet, a sort of eerie quiet, almost like there's been a vacuum. Like it's just, the atmosphere has been sucked out of the area. We need a good, some kind of storm, rainstorm or whatever to hopefully change that. Sometimes it can change it and make it better. Sometimes it'll change it and make it worse. You know, it all depends. All right, gonna head home. Don't blame the teacher, blame the school.